Good evening, everyone. It's been a wonderful evening, and surprises, and we just want to give thanks to God and thank you all for coming tonight. Let me just give way to my number one critic and my instructor.
Well, praise God. I really thank God for this opportunity. Thank you, guys. Your love is... I have no words to say. Thank you so much. You've been so wonderful. God really blessed us with wonderful brothers and sisters. Biologically, I have only 3 children, but I find I have many children. And I'm really proud of my children, my church. Praise God. They have been so great to us. So much support your support is so much. I really thank God for it. I don't want to take much time. There's so much to say, but I don't want to say. Let my husband say.
If I start speaking, it'll take all night, so I know most of us are hungry. I'm also hungry. So we must spend some time sharing together our love and our fellowship. May I just greet my pastoral team, Reverend Jai, he's somewhere running it about, there he is, and Reverend Jack and Pastor Royce, and my 2 elders, Brother Dennis and Brother Ravi, and of course others on board. Brothers and sisters in the Southport Church of God, and greetings to you and our love to you. And let me also say at this time, these distinguished men who are my colleagues in the ministry. And Bishop Lewinson, thank you for finding the time and to come for these old men here. And somebody said, you are as wise as the ancient of the days. And we are thankful to God to get a man like you to speak to us and speak to me and give me a challenge once again to continue to go. Praise God. And thank you, Bishop Kumar, and to see you once again. And as I look around the ministers, this is the only one man who never gets old. I don't know the reason, but I have to find out the diet he has. But Bishop Kumar and Sister Kumar, we here, thank you for coming and the words you said. Pastor Abbas, and you are my neighbor, and thank you for coming as a family. We love you, and thank you for the years of fellowship we have. Pastor Sudesh, good to see you, and you also have the baldness like Brother Jai, and good to see you from the time I met you. Pastor Bijoy, you're another bald man. Thank you for coming. And he's my colleague for several years, a faithful man of God. And working with me. Pastor Satiraj, my fellow traveler, as he said, we traveled many places, and I learned the Tamil because he translates in those years into Tamil, so I learned the Tamil from him. So as both of you said, Bishop Kumar and Pastor Satiraj, and my ministry was among the Tamil-speaking brothers and sisters nearly 25 years. So every Sri Lankan and Tamil-speaking people think I am a Tamil, because, and I do speak a little bit of words to them. So lovely to have you among us. Pastor Charles, nice to have you among us, and you don't get old anyway. So it's good to see you and welcome once again. Pastor Jace, and so nice to have you. He's my colleague. He ministers in Wembley, and we've been having great fellowship over the years. And the new kid in the block, Ryan, and this brother comes all the way from USA. He joined, this is his church family, so to speak, and so nice. Thank you for coming and speaking. Can I introduce my family? Some of you do not know how many children we have, how many grandchildren we have. And we have 3 children. I think they're all here. Can we ask Phoebe? Phoebe's our first daughter, holding the little one. And Rachel is our last one. And little Bella is Rachel's daughter. Malcolm, where are you? Our son-in-law. He's at the back, yes. Then son Tim, he should be somewhere. Tim and Marsha. And the little one. And these are our children. And they have a little child called Nico. And I must say thanks to God for my family. And especially when these kids, as Rachel was saying, and if I give time to Phoebe, because we came from India in 1985 to this country with Phoebe. She was about 2 years or something like that, 2.5 years. And we were the pioneers of the church. We three were the members of the church to start with. And to see our children growing up in this church and becoming, great people to impact their generation. And we are so thankful to them as well. Without my family, as Dr. Lewinson said, without my number one critic and my instructor, I wouldn't be where I am today. Thank you, pastors. If your wife is not a good critic, make her a good critic. Because that's the only way we will survive. We will remain faithful in the ministry. Praise God for family. Then let me just say another word about the church family. As many of you know, in this church, some of you have left your former religions, Hinduism or Sikhism or other religions. And when you left that, you have no family. Their families disowned them. And as Simone said, we become the parents and even grandparents to many of you. And we are so proud of that. This is my family. As Bishop Lewinson also said, that this is a family celebration. When we started talking about giving thanks to God for a celebration, I asked the chairman, Reverend Jai, and the team, I want my brothers and sisters to come and join with me, to fellowship together, to eat together, to give thanks to God for what God has done for us. Brother Ashok, you sang that song once again, beautifully. I owe it all to Jesus. I owe it all to Jesus. What I am, what we are, and what we have done in Southall, it's not us. What we are doing now in Southall and beyond Southall, it's nothing to do with us. It's your prayers and your love, your embrace, and your encouraging words. We can never, never, never forget that. When sometimes we come to church, we may smile and we may look all right outside, but beneath this jacket, there are cries we suppress. There are problems we hide. There are torments we have. There are tears we have. We keep it. But when we see the face of our church family, it's all gone. We are so glad. And we can serve you in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. Let me tell you, I don't know I have another 40 years or no. Bishop Lewinson said wisely, whatever years it comes. But one thing I have determined in my heart, and that's where my critic doesn't agree with me. I said, I will never retire. I will retire and rerun. You can retire it, your cars as you get new tires and rerun again. As long as the engine is good, the car looks okay, keep running. I think this engine seems to be okay at the moment, and I need to have the MOT from time to time. But it seems it's running okay. But Simone says, no, when you come to a certain age, we have to relax and sit and quiet and, we've done enough. But she cannot do that because I'm leading her. And as long as I'm here, I have to lead. I have to go ahead. As a songwriter said, where he leads me, I will follow. We are a team. And like the other Sunday, I was saying that does that mean we have no issues at all between us in the home? We don't argue at all? You're wrong. We do argue. And last Sunday I instructed everyone, have healthy arguments in the family. Mrs. Billy Graham was approached by somebody and asked her, what is the success of the marriage life? 50 years they were celebrating. And I said it in the Southall Church many times, but I'll say it one more time. And Mrs. Graham said some very wise answers to the interviewers. And they were asked one question: what is the secret of the success of your marriage? And also, have you ever thought of divorce in these 50 years? Mrs. Graham thought for a moment. Divorce? Never. Murder? Many times. Ladies, you laughed more than the men, I can see that. Don't you do that to your husbands. Then she was asked another question. In your married life, have you ever had any disagreements? And she said it again, a wise statement. She said, if both of us agree on anything and everything, one of us is not needed. Think about that. That's why I said keep arguing, but as long as it's healthy arguments. I want to congratulate my wife who stood with me faithfully over these years. And no, she wasn't there 40 years, but 35 years with me. I started ministry as a late teenager. In 1974, I went to Bible school. That's in the ancient of days. And I thank God for my mentors who taught me in the Bible school. And more than that, my parents and my grandparents, they brought me up in strictly holiness teaching. And that's why some of my kids think I'm a perfectionist. And some of the church people also think I'm a perfectionist. I am a perfectionist for Jesus. When it comes to ministry, I don't believe in a second-class ministry. It should be number one. Our presentation, you know, when I tell my associate leaders, when you preach a good sermon. Otherwise, I'm not happy. I want my fellow ministers to preach better sermons than I do preach. I want them to do better administration than I do. Because that's the only way, like John Maxwell said, the success of a leader is that he will have successors. I have already trained the successors in this church. And if the Lord calls me, I'm ready to go home. But this church will go on and on and on and on. As long as Southwold Church needs me, we are here. And our kids are here. We will serve God. And let me just finish by saying this. When I was called to the ministry, I raised my hand and said, this is in a little village in South India, in a state called Kerala. And I've never been in an aeroplane. I never seen any big cities in the world. In a village, when the Lord laid his hand on me through a servant of God, said, I have called you to serve me in the far corners of the earth. I've only seen my village. I've never seen the far corners of the earth. Then I raised my hand and said, Lord, wherever you sent me, I will go. My heart's ambition was to go to the northern part of India. So I started learning Hindi at college and also privately. But the Lord brought me to a place called Southall, where Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi is the first language. Think about that. And I'm so glad for the calling of God. And again, thank you for the ministers who said some wonderful words. Though I don't deserve some of the words you said, I can say one thing we have decided, and I have decided in my heart, no matter what the cost, I will serve him. I will serve him. No matter who says what. I had challenges to put the book down from friends and enemies. I had challenges from around. We want to see Joe Kurian preaching again. We'll make sure we'll put the book down and he will have his head down. He will not preach. But the enemy is one more time. We are challenging him. You didn't give me the book. He gave me the book. He gave me the book. And when he takes the book back, I'm ready to go. The Church of God did not give me the ministry. God gave me the ministry. So whether it is 20 years or 40 years or 50 years or 1 year even, because God gave the ministry, to God be the glory. And as Brother Ashok sang very well today, I owe it all to Jesus. Thank you for coming. God bless you all.
Pastor Joe and Sister Simone, would you be good enough to conclude this evening by cutting the cake for us?
I'm really stunned. I don't know what to say, and this is absolutely marvelous. Thank you, church. Thank you, brothers and sisters. And at this occasion, our hearts are full of joy because we are in the right place. And we thank God. People like you love us, you made our day tonight.
Praise the Lord. We're just lighting up the fire here. There's a beautiful picture. You might not be able to see it. Hopefully we'll be able to get that some other time of our dear pastor. And we'll take some pictures there. You'll be able to see that. The fire is burning. It continues to burn. We'd like you, Pastor and Sister Simone, to blow those out on either side. If you would do that. Yeah, one. They do blow out, don't they? Yeah? Well, they don't blow out. Okay. We'll just give it a go anyway. 1, 2, 3. At least they tried. Okay, let's just give them another round of applause as they cut the cake and you do that.
Thank you, everyone. Praise the Lord.